morning, everybody. Dan mentioned earlier he was going to save the thunder for Bernardino at the opening remarks, and he did a great job of that, but he missed one thunderbolt right outside my hotel room this morning at about 5:30 in the morning. So if that's the definition of a Chicago wake-up call, it really worked, for me this morning for sure. As Dan mentioned, my name is Paul Reisner, CEO, founder of LightGuide. We're based out of the Detroit, Michigan area. As an augmented reality company, it's great to be able to present our thoughts on augmented reality and the state of the business here today. I'll let Fran introduce himself.
Good morning, everybody. Fran Branco. As was mentioned earlier, I'm a principal manufacturing engineer. My sole responsibility with the company is to bring transformation to the business. And we'll get into a little bit more about how and why we got there when I get into my portion of the presentation.
So Fran represents the voice of the customer for us, but I would also say voice of a partner too, because with many of our deployments, we actually work very closely with our customers to innovate as well as install our augmented reality technology, which we'll learn more about here today. So it's great to be also a member of MXD. We've been here since MXD opened about 10 years ago. MXD is celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and we're actually celebrating our 20th year anniversary in this business. And we're very proud of the fact that we've got great customers like L3Harris and others that are seeing really great improvements in some of their manufacturing operations. A little bit about me. I've been in manufacturing for many, many years, mostly based out of the Detroit area, working with General Motors and other companies as well. Fran representing L3Harris from the principal manufacturing engineering standpoint has been a real supporter of LightGuide, I would say. And we've been able to do some great things within the L3 manufacturing footprint, which Fran will be able to tell you about here later on. So a little bit of the agenda for today is to be able to just communicate some of the overview from what we've done over the years, as well as augmented reality in general for workforce opportunities and where we can help in many ways with augmented reality and challenges. What are the solutions? Types of industrial augmented reality, because there are really three main types of AR that are possible for manufacturing floors around the world. We're going to talk a little bit about all three of those and where's the best fit for each of those three forms of AR. Some AR case studies, which Fran will provide a great overview on, and then we'll be able to have some time at the end for Q&A. Really quickly on the workforce opportunities and even challenges today, it's really interesting to see how over the history of manufacturing, many of the challenges that manufacturers have on factory floors around the world and how manufacturers have adapted to those challenges. And even as automation like robots and other forms of automation continue to scale up and get better, still today about 72% of all manufacturing in some shape or form are still done by people. So there's this flexibility component to people being able to do assembly work, inspection, part kitting, sequencing, maintenance work, where in many ways people are still the best fit for those jobs over automation. And so why are there so many different ways that right now manufacturers are really trying to figure out where do I augment and where do I automate? And those are two big questions, quite honestly. And if you get it right, typically you're going to end up with great metrics on your factory floor. And if you don't, you may not be as flexible to be able to adapt to many of the different things that have happened in manufacturing over the years. It's interesting, you think about flexibility, and you think about Ford, for instance, as a very good use case, going back to World War II, when they had to convert over a complete automotive manufacturing plant in Michigan to be able to build B-24 bombers from within the same factory. And you think about flexibility there and how they were able to scale that up in about 18 months. And at the peak of production, they were building one bomber every hour off of that assembly line. Ford, in another example, during the middle of COVID, switched over from building vehicles to ventilators to be able to help overcome the pandemic as well, in the same factory and with the same people. And now that we're in today's day and age, and there's a lot of things going on in manufacturing right now, and how do we adapt to tariffs and some of the other environmental conditions that are going on out there in our businesses, and flexibility really, really becomes key, obviously, throughout the history of really manufacturing and even today. So augmented reality can help, to make a factory more flexible if it's applied in the right way. The other big problem we got right now is you solve the flexibility issue, you still got the issue of being able to get the right manpower, on factory floors. And there's going to be about 2.1 million jobs still unfilled in the 2030 timeframe. So it becomes even more important than ever. And we see that with a lot of our customers where they can't get enough people, and then the people that they get, they can't train them fast enough. And so ideally, there's technology that could be applied that could train anyone, allowing you to hire pretty much anybody, train them instantaneously on any product and very efficiently. I mean, that's kind of nirvana, right, in manufacturing. But we've got a really interesting use case that's already out there today that's not necessarily augmented reality, but the value proposition is very similar, which is GPS in our car, where GPS delivers you the right information at the right place in the right time. And if augmented reality can do that in a manufacturing plant, we'll typically see productivity, quality, and training efficiency go up. And you think about GPS with our old maps that we had in the glove compartment, which hopefully nobody's pulling those out anymore. But GPS has totally replaced, for the most part, those old maps in our glove compartment, which was maybe the wrong information at the wrong place in the wrong time. And GPS has totally switched that over to the right information, right place, right time, to the point where you could be driving almost anywhere around the world on roads you've never been on, and even on the wrong side of the road if you're in Scotland or something like that. And GPS is trying to make sure you never make a wrong turn ever again. And that's really the value of, in many ways, augmented reality in a factory floor. But the whole benefit of GPS isn't that it tells you after you made the wrong turn that you made a wrong turn, because at that point, you've already made the wrong turn. It's really the turn right in 100 meters, the turn left in 200 meters. It's trying to make sure you never make a wrong turn, no matter where you are around the world. And ideally, if we can get augmented reality to be able to deliver those type of results on a factory floor, I think we're light years ahead of where we've been in the past. So what's the solution? The digitally connected worker. Being able to apply technologies in the right way on the factory floor so people are really connected to their process, they're connected to their results, and they'll be able to deliver some amazing results on these factory floors. And not only is it the digitally connected worker, but it also has to be people that can be trained on almost any application. And Virginia did a great job providing an overview on what Siemens is doing with the digital twin. You saw the amazing digital model where you could basically replicate a complete factory and be able to iterate it and dynamically model it to really get that factory dialed in, before you even go into a physical production. But coming from manufacturing backgrounds, the problem often there is you get everything dialed in the digital world, you go deploy it in the physical world, and the physical twin doesn't match the digital twin that's been modeled in the environment. So technologies like augmented reality can help to make sure that there truly is a physical twin on the factory floor that matches up with the quality, productivity, training efficiency requirements that you modeled in the digital world. And you'll see some of that during the factory tour today. Siemens has got a great gimbal assembly demonstration out on their assembly line and be able to see a little bit of that at work. So we're going to talk a little bit about use cases here in a sec, but it's pretty interesting. As we've seen more and more technologies evolve on factory floors around the world, it's really neat to see around 4 of 10 manufacturers have already begun leveraging different types of augmented or virtual reality technologies. But there's another statistic that says about 72% of all digital transformations fail. And so that's something that we have to solve because the real solution, I should say the real success there, is that if a plant manager and the CFO, as a part of a digital transformation, look at each other after it's over and both agree it was a success, then it typically was a success. But if it's just the CFO or just the plant manager that's saying it was a success, that's a problem. They both have to align for it to be successful. And that's our goal with many of the installations that we do. So industrial AR, we want to just talk through a few of the various options that are available to manufacturers out there today. There's mobile devices like a tablet or a phone. There's wearable AR, such as truly a wearable, and I believe Scott Montgomery is going to be talking about that a little bit later on as well in more detail. And then there's projected AR. So at a very high level, the definition of augmented reality is being able to display virtual images on top of the physical product so that people are being guided through what they need to do through these virtual images overlaid on the physical workspace. And all three of these technologies, do have different ways of doing it, but they can be applied for various manufacturers around the world in a way that helps them achieve their goals. So let's talk a little bit about mobile device AR, which is typically a tablet or a phone. We all use them. They're available in our pockets and can be used to be able to do remote support. If you're out there on an electrical panel and you need an expert to zoom in through your phone or a tablet into that electrical panel, provide you some assistance on the maintenance process to fix it, it's a great application for mobile AR. And it's also something that's very, very accessible for pretty much anybody with a phone. And it's also very affordable. In many cases, it's basically what you already have that you're carrying around. But in other areas, especially when you're talking about manufacturing, there's some limitations to it as well. It's typically, as you see in the picture, something you have to hold. So you become 50% less productive if you don't have both hands available to do whatever the work is that you need to be doing. So, and it's also, not necessarily that ergonomic, and there's some concerns there because you could be distracted from what's happening around you by really being focused on the tablet or whatever you're looking at. Screen size limitations doesn't have a really great field of view. In many cases, it's not that durable because if it gets dropped, it basically gets damaged or it could be stolen because it's very portable. So there's some issues we've seen with some of our customers there who've tried to work on expanding mobile device ARs within their factories. It's because there's a lot of proprietary data being communicated wirelessly. It's not necessarily the most secure system in the world, and also in many big 3-4 million square foot factories, there's not really great signals, at every corner of that factory. So you can't always rely that you're going to have a solid connection no matter where you are. But it is, a great application for those areas where every second doesn't count and every penny doesn't count, like we're going to talk about in a second, and where you've got the flexibility and you need to be moving around, within a large area. It's a great fit. The other one is wearable AR, and we've seen a lot of different forms of wearable ARs come out from Microsoft HoloLens, Vuzix, RealWear, Vision Pro, and others as well. And basically, they're providing guidance in the form factor of a wearable that you can wear on your head. And there's some big advantages for those. First of all, it's hands-free, so you have both of your hands available to be able to assemble something or to be able to maintain something. So that's a huge advantage because your efficiency goes up dramatically if you've got both hands available to do what you need to do. But also, it helps to improve the accuracy of the work that you're doing, and it can also allow for that remote assistance capability that I spoke about earlier. A lot of advantages to that. The disadvantages are that from an ergonomic standpoint, you basically are wearing this on your face, and it's providing you the guidance, but some of our experience has been that it can be a little bit heavy over time, especially if you're wearing it for 8 to 10 hours a shift, 5 days a week. Sometimes it also has latency between when you need the information and when you actually get it. So if you're working on an assembly line and there's a vehicle coming at you every 45 seconds and you got to assemble badges to it, you just can't afford to have any delays between that information when you need it and when you actually get it. And there's some other points here as well that, again, hearing directly from our customers, it can be a bit of a disadvantage to the wearables as well. And then finally, there's projected AR, and this is for really those applications where truly every second counts and every penny does count. And so we are projecting step-by-step work instructions onto the actual physical workflow and also capturing all the analytics that go along with it. So we're capturing this digital birth certificate that can be uploaded into a Siemens Insights Hub or something like that. It could be analyzed by AI to be able to understand where bottlenecks are in real time, and we're really kind of closing this gap in data that exists coming from automation and robots that doesn't exist with manual processes. And it really allows for, again, what we would call augmented intelligence, is combining augmented reality with artificial intelligence into providing really an augmented intelligence type of platform. It helps because it's hardwired to power, So there's no batteries that need to be charged. It's also hardwired to the security firewalls. So there's really no proprietary data that's being communicated wirelessly, which is really beneficial, especially to some of our defense customers that really don't want to have, from a cybersecurity standpoint, proprietary data being communicated. It's very intuitive and easy to use. You just wear your normal safety glasses, and you're being immediately guided through exactly what you need to do on that particular workstation. We're tied into vision cameras, robots, torque guns, barcode scanners, all of your standard off-the-shelf hardware platforms from an industry standpoint, 4.0 standpoint. It's always on. Many of our customers have been running 24/7 for 5 years or more, and it's got full analytics capability as well to deliver the real-time data around what's happening on the factory floor. The disadvantage of it is it does require overhead projectors, and we can use up to 15 projectors to wrap a whole Tesla vehicle and work instructions if we need to, or whatever that product is. And we can also be able to communicate all the data up into the cloud if necessary. But they are fixed projectors, so there's more infrastructure and hardware required, and therefore more cost, compared to some of the other options as well. And also sometimes if there's bright skylights, like sometimes there is here at MXD with a bright sun out there, it can actually wash out some of the images that are coming from the projectors. But we can use up to 10,000 lumen projectors if we need to help overcome that. And then finally, sometimes you do get this light interference as well. So before I turn it over to Fran here, this is some of the results that many of our customers are receiving from augmented reality in general. 90% or more improvements in quality, which makes sense because if complex manual processes can become as easy as just following the lights, it becomes very visual, very intuitive. Training efficiencies of 70% or more, and then productivity improvements of 50% or more in some cases. And really the best way to improve productivity is to improve quality. If you're improving quality, your productivity and efficiencies are naturally getting a lift as a result of that quality improvement. So it really becomes, as we like to say, overall employee effectiveness rather than the standard definition, which is overall equipment effectiveness, helping employees, the frontline workers who are really our end customers, do the best job they possibly can on the factory floor. And this is what it looks like at work. This is one of our customers, Lightning eMotors. They basically put Lightguide in for a very complicated wire harness application, and post-deployment, they were able to document about a 50% decrease in cycle times and about a 75% reduction in training time compared to how they were doing the work before. So this is a wiring harness, very complicated because not only is there the step-by-step requirements of building up this wire harness, but it also has multiple wire harnesses that need to be built on this board. So the very first step we do is guide somebody through a changeover process from one wire harness part number to another. It's a batch run cycle. And then once the changeover is completed, we're guiding the person, the operator here, on how to route the wire harnesses around those pegs that she just installed. And we can even project different colors so that if it's a red wire, we'll guide her through selecting the red wire and routing it. We're showing her where she needs to place very critical tape in the right location. So all of that work across all 3 shifts gets standardized. And then we're going to start guiding her through the balance of this wire harness application. One of the really interesting side benefits that some of our customers like about Projection AR is it inherently provides a layered audit process. And what I mean by that is, as we're all watching this video, you don't have to know how to build this wire harness. All you have to do is watch to make sure the team member is building it per the lighted work instructions. And as long as we all see her doing that, we know she's following the standardized work instructions because they're right there on the workflow itself. So that ability to generate a layered audit process as a part of each build cycle is a big advantage to augmented reality in general as well. And then finally, as you see, as she wraps up this, at the very end of this, there's a number of very critical alphanumeric numbers she has to write on a piece of tape in the right locations to basically identify the completion of these various steps after it's all been fully assembled. And at the end there, instead of somebody having to look at a monitor for that information and then go apply it to the physical product, it's all basically being projected right onto the physical product as well. And that's what you see in this final step, is projecting the locations and even the alphanumeric numbers right next to each of those wire harness bundles. So all 3 shifts are writing the right numbers down and putting them in the right spot. Okay? So that's a use case that was really a good one for us, and I will turn it over to Fran here, and he can go through some of the L3 use cases as well.
All right. Thanks, Paul. All right. So a little bit about L3 Harris. For those of you that aren't aware or know much about us, we are a global leader in aerospace and defense industry. We work in several different areas: avionics, communication systems, cybersecurity, and electronic warfare. I work in the communication systems division. Our group builds tactical radio communication systems for both commercial and military, so both the U.S. military as well as allied nations. And I want to talk a little bit about what does LightGuide mean to us and how did it impact our business and what we do. So first, a lot of people ask, well, why transformation? What's the big deal? Well, in the past, right, we've always gone from a Caterpillar to a slightly better Caterpillar or a slightly bigger Caterpillar. We weren't really changing or growing or doing anything different. So we wanted this idea of metamorphosis. We wanted to look at how do we get better? How do we really take the industry by storm and really grow our business in the digital age? So we wanted to create a new future for us. And Virginia was talking about this lighthouse, and that was kind of the concept that we originally had. And then we were looking at this transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly in that metamorphosis and what it takes to get there. So that's what we were doing. We actually met Paul and the LightGuide team, I believe it was back in 2017, 2018 at the assembly show. We had a lot of interest in implementing their technology in our facility. And it wasn't until 2019 that we actually brought them in-house. And since that time, we've deployed over 70 systems in our facilities. We've got 9 active sites right now, with 2 sites leading the way with better than 70% of the systems installed. We do a lot of electromechanical assembly. It's light-duty stuff, small electronics, a lot of epoxy dispense, cable routings, hand soldering, and a lot of post-wave activities. And as you can see on the map, we do have sites all over the US as well as the UK. What does this mean? Well, when we adopted back in 2019, we implemented our first 4 LightGuide systems on standalone workstations. We were looking proof of value, proof of concept. How well is this going to really transform or change our business? One of the first places that we applied it was to this station in our public safety professional communications line, where they're building 17 different variants of a rack-mounted communication system. And for us to try and train operators on doing this because of the constant changeovers, the work instructions having to be changed out, it took us weeks, sometimes months, to train new operators to get them really where we needed them to be in terms of capability and speed on building these products. The other thing that was compounded with this was some variants we didn't see for a year, 2 years. So people remembering how to build those things was very difficult. After putting in the system, and this is one of the big things, this is what I really want to showcase here. Now that was August of 2019 we put that in. Now think about this. From 2019 to today, we've had 0 assembly-related defects off of that line. 0. That means our product quality has gone up as a result. By being able to work with LightGuide and consolidate and use the pick-to-light scenario that they have, we actually took all of the materials that was staged offline, put it on a single workstation, used the pick-to-light tool, and we've had 0 failures from that. Okay? And all of this is done on a single workstation. So we reduced all the footprint from the work and all the materials, as well as shrunk the size of the line down to be able to accommodate this. So that means more value add time that the operator's building product, not doing these other things. It was huge. And we saw this across the other 3 stations that we implemented it on. Well, that's great. This is all well and good. But for us, how do we do better? What else can we do? So myself and a couple of other leaders from the organization, we got together, we started pulling together a community practice and a bill of process for installing light guides within our facilities so that we can create standards for people to be able to take what we've learned and deploy it in their facilities. The other thing that we've done through this process is we've integrated Paul and Will and their team at Light Guide into our meetings with our end users that are dealing with the technology day in, day out, trying to support it, help our users on the factory floor that are using the technology day in and day out, so that they can answer questions or when there's concerns or, hey, what about this? How do we do that? So it's been a great partnership between our organizations in being able to implement technology updates faster, being able to get bugs fixed quicker. And, again, getting those key points of contact now, not only within my organization can people better communicate with each other to try and solve problems, they know the people at Light Guide and can say, hey, I need to reach out to Will right now. I need help with this because this is a serious problem. Or, hey, what about this? We want to look at doing this down the road. So it's really helped us reimagine how we do our business within the organization. But that wasn't enough for us. We needed to take it to that next level. And in October of 2023, we released the first fully conveyorized Industry 4.0 line within L3Harris. This smart cell, as we're calling it, really combines all of the technologies from Light Guide, other IoT technologies such as programmable torque drivers, artificial intelligence cameras. We have interlocked fixtures, all on this line that are helping us to build our products. Now on this line, as an example, we took 5 product families and we combined them together. Now those 5 product families represent 45 unique final assemblies that go to our customers. And that's both US and foreign military. There's a lot of changeover that was required in order to be able to do this. We were building these on 3 lines at one point, on multiple shifts. By moving the Light Guide and bringing it into this line, we were able to consolidate all of that work into a single line, 6-station build with a load and unload station. And working with Light Guide and our line builder, we integrated all of these technologies seamlessly to get it up and running. And that's a great thing because now our operators are looking at this, and one of the comments that was made to us after we had launched it was, this is like driving in a high-end Mercedes or a high-end BMW versus what we were doing before. It felt like we were driving a Chevy or a Yugo. And that was great for us to hear because it meant that we were having an impact. But what does that impact mean to the customer or to our, my internal customer? Well, for my end users, it means now that I can take somebody who yesterday might have been working at Home Depot, working in another manufacturing facility, doing something else. And from a lead time perspective on their training, I can take it from weeks and months down to hours or days at most, and have confidence that they're building with complete capability. We also saw a tremendous reduction in the cycle time for our build processes, which was great for us because it means more throughput. Obviously, the cost of poor quality has gone down because we're seeing much better quality because now everything is built the same. It's not building A, B, C, D, today, and then tomorrow somebody comes in A, D, C, F, G, H. It's out of order. Now we're getting standard products, so we're seeing an uptick in our overall product performance because of this. The other thing that we were able to do with this line via Light Guide, all the operators come in when they sign in the morning on the line knows what ergonomic height that workstation needs to be at based upon what fixtures and tools are on the workstation and who the operator is, and it communicates with the line PLC and automatically adjusts the workstation height so that the operator isn't doing this to try and do a job or having to reach excessively far to get to things. Everything is right there where they need it when they need it. We've eliminated all the changeover defects. Again, using that pick-to-light process, we eliminated all of that because we go through the validation and verification process using LightGuide for it. And obviously, a tremendous reduction in the floor space. So, I mean, not only has LightGuide transformed how we're building our process, but the other thing that it's done for us is all of the data that we get out of the system, it's transformed how we manage it and how we continuously improve it, because now all of that data is available. We can display it on metrics boards throughout the factory so that our operations managers and engineers can monitor the line in real time and be able to fix things before they become a problem, or go out and have the data to, thoroughly go out and do a root cause corrective action because all of the data is right there from the builds. And we have that at our fingertips. And that's it.
Great.
Thanks.
Good job.
Appreciate it. Let's take maybe a couple questions.
Briefly, you mentioned that for the assembly line, your errors went to zero when you.
Yes.
I don't know if you can share what were they before in terms of the percentage. Percentage to zero be infinite, but
So we would see on that line, on average, somewhere between 5 and 12 assembly-related defects that would get caught in functional test or at final inspection every month, routinely. And by implementing LightGuide and having that ability to step through the validation process, knowing when things are getting put in, who's putting them in, it went to zero. And like I said, because we have that standard process now, the overall product performance has increased as well. So, not that it was a lot of defects, but when you're building lots of 20, 30 units, if you have 5 or 10 that fall out at any given time, it does have an impact on your ability to meet customer requirements.
so many of these use cases, point to such huge quality improvements. It's amazing. So yeah thanks.
Terrific. Thank you. Yeah, in the front.
You said one of the things you're reducing floor space. How
Yep.
is that? How are you reducing floor space?
So in our case, we've actually been consolidating lines. So we've been taking products that were on dedicated assembly lines, and through the use of LightGuide with the changeover programs and pick-to-light, it's allowed us to consolidate everything onto a single line. Like that Smart Cell as an example, we were building on 3 individual production lines that were running multiple shifts, and we were able to consolidate because of the results in the cycle time improvements, the quality improvements. It afforded us enough capacity to be able to build everything on a single line and eliminate all the need for those secondary lines. And that's been huge for us because now it means as we develop new products, I now have available workspace that I can move those products into, or I can move them onto this line if I have extra capacity to do it.
Can you share how content is created and edited in the software?
I might be able to pick that one up. So actually, L3Harris did a great job before LightGuide of having digital content that they had on monitors for work instructions and paper-based work instructions. So we basically imported a lot of the great digital content they already had, great pictures, cross-sections, even some videos, into LightGuide and just translated it into projected work instructions. And our goal is always that you can basically convert those work instructions into AR work instructions faster than you can do it using paper monitor work instructions that you have to create. And it's a lot more effective on the factory floor because the results you're able to get when augmented reality has really become the work instruction technology. We also train our customers on how to author all of their own work instructions. So our customers are experts on their own products and processes, not us. So we'll deliver the systems and we'll also train our customers on how to author all their own work instructions, which is also great for the defense customers because in many cases, they're installing their own systems, they're authoring them, and we don't even know what the products are, that they're building with LightGuide. So we'll let you take on as much ownership as a customer as you want around the whole LightGuide, balance of systems of authoring as well as hardware and installation.
Terrific.
And to add to that, I mean, from a timing perspective, if you can create slides in PowerPoint, you can create it in LightGuide just as easily. It's not that difficult. The hardest part that we went through more than anything was really understanding how much feedback we wanted in terms of the system so that we can make sure that the operators were completing steps. So that's where some of the challenges comes in, is how much content do you want to give the operators?
Great.